Hello artists! I'm going to talk you through a new watercolor painting lesson called Reverse Painting. The supplies that you're going to need for this are a piece of heavyweight tagboard, a piece of scrap tagboard, a pencil, a pair of scissors, a watercolor tray, a cup of water, and a paintbrush. You will want to choose a paintbrush that has a round tip. The first step to this project is to take your piece of tagboard and fold it into 3 sections. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to fold them over each other. The sections don't have to be totally even, but we're going to paint 3 different little mini reverse paintings. So now I have 3 sections. Before you do anything else, flip it over and put your name and your class code on the back. Now we're going to create 3 different watercolor washes. A watercolor wash should be light. It can be a variety of colors, but it should be really light. I like to do the wet on wet technique, where you wet the paper first to create your wash using just clean water. I'm going to do 1 wash at a time. I'm not going to do the whole page yet. Just 1 here. I'm wetting this whole section. Then I want to use analogous colors. That means colors that are close to each other in the tray or close to each other on the color wheel. And again, we want this to be light. We do not want a lot of dark values. We will get darker as the project continues, but first we want to start with really light shades and colors that are close to one another on the color wheel. So I've got this kind of pinky purple. I've got a more traditional purple. I could also add blue to this because blue is close on the color wheel. Just want to make sure that you're not mixing like all 3 primaries together. What happens when you mix all 3 primaries together? Yep, you get brown. So this is a really good first wash. Very light. Happy with that one. And you can also do this with the wet on dry technique. The wet on wet technique is wet paper, wet paintbrush. Wet on dry technique is dry paper, wet paintbrush. But I find that I don't get a light enough wash this way. Also, my colors don't really move and blend together as much as I like them to. So definitely if I'm doing a watercolor wash, it is my preference to do the wet on wet. But I want to show you the difference here. It's just the paint's not going to move as much on this one. Let's see. Maybe this could be blue. This could be a little green maybe in here. Okay, so on the first day of this project, you are going to create 3 watercolor washes. Okay, while you're waiting for your watercolor washes to dry, you're going to create 3 stencils or 3 tracers using this scrap of tagboard. On my original example, I used a circle, a fish shape, and a heart. So if I wanted to do a heart, I could just cut that out. It's important for all of your tracers that you put your name and class code on the front and the back. I'm also going to do a fish. I'm just going to cut out half of a fish. Watch this. I can use this as the tail. I'm going to do this. There's my fish's tail. You can also draw one out and cut it if you want. He's a little too chunky for me. I'm going to trim him down. That looks good. Okay, I'll put my name on that one. And then the last one I'm going to do is just like an abstract shape, triangle. All right, so now I'm waiting for my washes to dry. I have my 3 different templates or tracers cut out. I'm putting my name on them. There we go. The next step, after your washes are dry, this is going to be my triangle one, this is going to be my heart one, this is going to be my fish one. I'm going to trace the triangle on here 3 or 4 times. And again, this is all dry. And it can go off the page a little bit if you want. You do not want to fill up this with the triangles. Again, just 3 or 4 times for the first layer. I'm going to put one down here. Okay, I have my shapes traced with plenty of space in between. Again, you're only going to trace these shapes the first time 3 to 4 times on each section. I'm going to pick one color to paint now on top of here. I'm going to use this red. Every time I add another layer, I want to use the same color. I'm going to paint around my triangles. We want to use the wet on dry technique, which means we are not pre-wetting the paper. We want the paper to be dry when we do this step. You want to leave the triangles, inside the triangles, unpainted. This takes some concentration and focus. You want to make sure you keep a wet brush. And you want to use a small round brush so that you can get really nice and neat lines around each shape. When this is dry, you're going to do another 3 to 4 triangles. These can be standalone triangles in a new place, or it can overlap with one that you currently have. Now this is important. If I'm going to overlap this one, I am not going to draw a pencil line inside this first triangle. I'm going to draw out here because we want this triangle to look like it's behind this one. I think I have room to put another one here. And maybe one more up here that's overlapping, or underlapping, I guess I should say, because we want it to look like it's behind. Now I'm going to paint again with the red. I chose number 7. I'm going to paint again around all of the triangles. So I'm going to paint around the new triangles and the original triangles. This will create layers, making the first triangles look like they're in the foreground or in the front, and these second set of triangles looking like they're a little bit farther back. So you will take your time, pay close attention. Again, this is a wet on dry. You're doing this step when your original layer of red is dry. Okay, so I have painted all the red back here. I did another 3 fish, painted it, let that dry. Then I traced another 3 fish parts. I'm kind of running out of space for whole fish. And I did 4 more hearts, painted it, and now let it dry, traced some more hearts. So this is my 3rd layer of triangles. I'm going to just find a few more places where I can sneak those in here. Here we go. I'm going to put one here. Again, I am not tracing inside any parts of existing triangles. Maybe one more here. Then I'm going to paint this again with this red, same red I was using before. Another nice layer of red going around all the triangles. The first few triangles I did, the second triangles, and then these last triangles. So I'm painting around all of the triangles. Each layer, the red gets a little bit darker, and the lightest triangles, the first ones, look like they're the closest. The second is like a medium color. They look like they're kind of in the middle ground. And these last triangles I just traced are going to look the farthest away because they are the darkest of all the colors. You do have to use a really fine pointed brush to get in some of these areas. Take your time, concentrate on what you have painted and what you haven't painted. Real artists take their time, they focus on their task, they use excellent craftsmanship. Okay, so that means it's not rushed, it's not sloppy, you're giving really good effort, paying attention to every part. This little corner up here. Okay, I'm going to paint these other 2 and I'll come right back. Okay, I'm finished. I have done 1 really light wash, and then I've done 3 layers of the red, 3 layers of the teal, and 3 layers of the purple. I'm so happy with how this has turned out. Remember, it's important to leave your paint tray open so it dries out really well, so don't close the lid. Also, you need to make sure you rinse your brushes and leave your brushes in the cup brush side up or the hair side facing the ceiling so that they don't get smashed and ruined. These are great brushes. Let's keep them nice. Okay, I can't wait to see what you create.